All right, folks, it is August 15th, 2024. We celebrate the 53 anniversary of Nixon taking us off the gold standard. We're taking a look at the markets, the current events, with a focus on cryptocurrency and the opportunity before us, folks. An incredible time to be alive, without a doubt. I'm excited to get into this live session tonight because we have so much to cover. So without further ado, I'm going to get right on into it. I just want to say real quick, if you appreciate the content, the updates on a daily basis, and the work that we've been putting in, and the value that we've been trying to bring to you guys, please make sure that you have been subscribing, hitting that notification bell so you don't miss the updates, and then everything can be found at zachrector.com. Real quick, I'm going to share this stream out on X. I would appreciate if you guys would share out the content as well. This is a live show that we're going to run up over the next 45 minutes to an hour, and I hope that you invite your friends, family, loved ones for the show. We got a lot going on here in these markets. The S&P 500 back up with the broader markets back up. We have crypto back down. And I want to get right on into it by taking a look here at the front page of Market Watch. As you can see right here, front page, S&P 500 erases August losses as irrational recession fears fade. So now we don't have to worry about the recession. Now the market's saying everything's A-OK. Looking at the sticks, up to 5,543 here for the S&P 500, NASDAQ 100 with a big green candle, Dow Jones as well. And so we're wiping out the losses that we had here to start off this month, coming all the way down here, 7% for the Dow Jones. It was a correction of 15% for the NASDAQ, and it was a correction of 10% for the S&P 500. We've nearly erased them all. Now, we did see here the DXY was back up today. And so what we saw was the DXY strength came back in. We don't have to worry about a recession. What happened here with gold? I haven't even checked it here. A little bit of a seesaw over the past week here with gold, but still at 24.54, holding very well below 2,500 for gold. And for silver, it was back up above $28 today. Big move for silver today. Wow. Back above 28 bucks. Now for the cryptocurrency space, we actually saw a correction back down to 56,000. And it was interesting because in the comments I'm reading, everybody's telling me XRP's crashing. Oh, all of this great news, XRP crashes. What did XRP do? It went to 55 cents. What a deal. You know, from the fundamental value to the market price today, looks like a pretty good deal to me. I'm not here to give you financial advice, but I'm definitely not crying and complaining, and I'm definitely scooping it up. Silver, while we were able to get it under 30 bucks, we thought it was a steal. And these opportunities to still get in on these assets, because the masses just don't understand what's happening. Everybody still thinks that everything's going to be okay, despite war, despite recession, despite economic recession. When we look at the jobs numbers, when we look at the earnings recession, and so everything's going to be okay. The White House is telling everything's fine. Don't worry about what Joe's doing. Even though you don't see Joe on a daily basis, don't worry about it. There's people in control of our country. Who knows who? But there are people running the show. Clearly not Joe. But Kamala's going to come in and handle things. Okay? And I covered in today's episode this morning, talking about the Democrats issuing their crypto promise. I want to know what you guys think of that. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of the Democrats' crypto promise? Chucky Schumer coming out and saying that he's going to give us crypto legislation by the end of the year. Overwhelming comments that I read this morning and all throughout the day was, we can't trust a word that these people say. You guys let me know in the comments down below. Let's continue on. That's what happened here in the markets today. This is what's happening in current events. United States says there are 40,000 U.S. troops in the Middle East right now, and we continue to send more aid, more military weapons, and more cash overseas. And this is where this empire is getting stretched a little bit thin. I love to see. We got the Marines here in this picture right here. Love our military. Love to see it. Strength. We need it. We need the strength. But the problem is that we're spread thin. We're broke. We're bust. And you guys let me know what you think of this one. We got Kamala unveiling a $25,000 down payment plan for first-time homebuyers. VP Kamala Harris is set to announce a significant housing proposal during her visit to North Carolina tomorrow. The plan aims to provide up to $25,000 in down payment assistance for first-time homebuyers, with even more generous support targeted at first-generation homeowners. Oh, how about that one? This initiative is part of a broader economic strategy that also includes measures to address rising living costs. Notably, Kamala will propose a ban on corporate price gouging, whatever that is, right? Corporate price gouging. They provide no definition of what that means, but it sounds good. Makes us feel warm and fuzzy inside. Practices in the grocery sector. No more price gouging in the grocery sector. Addressing concerns about food affordability. Well, we've been talking about this. The systemic problem of inflation is much bigger than corporate price gouging. These corporations are going bust. What are you talking about, corporate price gouging? Even with the quote-unquote price gouging, we have record Chapter 11 bankruptcy filings taking us back to the Great Financial Crisis. What do you think this program's going to do? $25,000 down payment plan? Let's prop up the housing market. Let's prop up real estate a little bit more. What do you say? Why don't we take interest rates back to zero while we're at it? Let's give everybody money for free. $25,000, why stop there? Why not do $50,000? Let's do that while we forgive student loan, while we do a UBI check, while we give a handout, while we make everybody feel good. Sounds good, right? The housing assistance plan could potentially help many Americans overcome one of the biggest hurdles to home ownership, the initial down payment. What about the fact that most people shouldn't actually own a home, aren't responsible enough to own a home, and aren't making enough or don't have enough to justify the home that they're in? How about that? You know, the problem here systemically is so much bigger than, $25,000 down payment assistance. Do we really need? I mean, this is the same programs, 0% down, ninja loans that got us into the Great Financial Crisis. And we've been talking about this margin call, this global margin call. The spark last week was the Japan carry trade. And despite JP Morgan saying that we're 75% done with the carry trade unwind, that's a bold-faced lie. We're just getting started. And the problem is it stretches into real estate, not just commercial. Commercial's already been sacrificed. We've gutted the inner cities of America, commercial real estate. But to continue these programs for first-time home buyers, right? How about we just let the free market set the prices? How about we get the government out of our business? You guys know where I stand. You guys let me know in the comments down below what you think of this program. And like I always say, hey, come up with the best program. It's going to make us feel so good. We're broke. You can't cash the check without expanding our debt and our deficit. And this is what's causing the world around us to laugh and the embarrassment that we have on the world stage right now. And the fact that we have countries around the world dropping our treasuries at the fastest pace. It's not just talk. It's not just countries laughing at us. No, they're actually dropping the dollar, dropping our treasuries at the fastest pace since the Great Financial Crisis. Some countries banning the use of our currency. That's how far this is going. But meanwhile, what's happening in the economy, as we've been saying, it's a lie. What is happening here from the Kobesi letter? The U.S. job numbers have been revised lower by 778,000 jobs since February 2022, according to BlackRock. This is not me. This is not somebody else that's a doomer. This is BlackRock. This is, consensus now that we have hundreds of thousands of jobs that were revised lower and never actually existed going back to 2022. This is across the board by all of the statisticians that track this economic data. It's a consensus. The question is did we lie about 500,000 jobs? Did we lie about over 1 million jobs? Some reports say and suggest that we've lost and basically didn't lose. We lied about over 1 million jobs just in the past year. This year alone, non-farm payrolls were revised down by 279,000 from January to June. Furthermore, the U.S. economy lost 192,000 jobs in Q3 2023 and added 344,000 jobs in Q4 2023, according to the BED survey released by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. On the other hand, non-farm payrolls data showed that the U.S. labor market added 663,000 and 577,000 new jobs in Q3 and Q4 2023. This is a jaw-dropping 1 million difference in job count over just 2 quarters. What? Folks, let me read that again. This is a jaw-dropping 1,088,000 job difference in job count over just 2 quarters. We are in a jobs recession, folks. The labor market is weaker than the headlines make it seem. You think? And I know you guys, we're not stupid over here. We get it. We understand. And this is why I have a tremendous amount of sympathy in my heart right now. When I read these headlines, I know how it's hitting at home. I know how it's hitting at home for me. I tell you guys my dad's stories all the time about complaining about taking the fam out to dinner and taking the fam to do something fun and how much it costs. I complain like a dad now. This is what I do. And I'm happy to do so, right? And I'm happy to pay that price. I'm very blessed right now. But golly, we've really brought things back home this summer. We've decided, okay, we're bringing it back home because it's out of control. Even when you want to support the local businesses and restaurants, I mean, anymore, it's just necessities and investments. You guys let me know in the comments down below what you're doing with your money. For me, it's necessities and investments and leisure. Yeah, I mean, I try to conduct business every day. So, we take a little bit of leisure, have a little bit of fun, go to the beach for a little bit of time. But for me, this is recession. This is World War. This is not time to chill. This is not time to lay back. And you should be counting your blessings if you've been able to avoid this jobs recession so far. This is something that I've been talking about over the last couple of years since 2022. The recession to-do list that I put out started with income. Because I knew this was coming. You could see it a mile away. And I didn't know at the time that the Fed was going to raise at the fastest pace in history. I didn't realize that the Fed was going to rug pull us so effectively. Here we are, 2024, and the media, along with the White House, is telling us everything's fine. And now we can do $25,000 down payment assistance, student loan forgiveness, everybody get a check, everybody have fun, and live a good life. Don't worry about deficits. Don't worry about debt. Don't worry about it. It's all good. It's all good, man. Go to the beach and pick out your ice cream like Joe's doing right now. Now, folks, this is getting so ridiculous. Let me take a sip of my adult beverage before I continue here because I'm excited to share this one with you guys. This is David Schwartz, the CTO of Ripple. Let me check the comments real quick. What are you guys up to here tonight? Let me check the comments here real quick. Let me know what the vibe is. This is David Schwartz, the CTO of Ripple, which, by the way, I observed this. I took notice of the fact that there was no representation from Ripple at the Crypto for Harris town hall. Now, I reported on the Crypto for Harris town hall, and I got a follow-up article that we're going to read off here briefly. But I noticed right away that Ripple didn't show up to that Crypto for Harris town hall. Now, they've donated some money here to Fair Shake, which has donated to both sides of the aisle. So Ripple definitely is not, hardcore Republican, MAGA, we're all voting for Trump, right? David's had criticism of Trump. Many on Ripple that have gotten political have been critical of Trump too. We've also seen Stuart Alderati. He donated to the Trump campaign in XRP. And the best part about that is I know that it triggered some lower level employees at Ripple that are wokies in San Francisco. I know there was a couple. God bless them. God bless. It's okay. It's okay. We need to make investments on both sides. As I've been saying, I'm excited to see Ripple hedge both sides. But what I noticed is that they didn't show up to the clown show that was the Crypto for Harris, Kamala town hall that was pre-recorded interviews and no audience questions. That's not a town hall where I come from. Now, this is David Schwartz. Let's take a sip of our adult beverage and continue. He says, I don't think this is such a good argument for the number 2 person in the current administration to make. What was stopping you from doing this 2 years ago? Biden? Oh boy, David Schwartz. Better be careful here. And I know the Ripple legal team, every time David tweets, is thinking, oh gosh, he put out another riddle. Kamala says, when I am president, it will be a day one priority to bring down prices. Okay, yeah. I'll take on big corporations that engage in illegal price gouging and corporate landlords that unfairly raise rents on working families. Now, is there some landlords that abuse it, some landlords that are bad? Yes, there's always some bad apples in every industry. Is there some companies that are doing price gouging? Absolutely. You know who's really been gouging us, though, is the American government and the amount of taxes that we have all the way from the federal down to the local and the state level. The taxes have really been a gouge on our pocketbooks. And of course, it's something that's not tracked in the CPI inflation data, which you guys are trying to celebrate. You and Daddy Powell have won the fight against inflation, even though this is the big lie about inflation, is that folks don't realize the most recent reading actually went back in the wrong direction. We started to bring down inflation by 0.1%. Everybody got excited. But folks don't realize these are rounding. They round off the numbers on the CPI. Now, the number itself is a lie, but even using their manipulated data point, we're going in the wrong direction. We were down by 0.1% or close to, and this last time around, we were down by even less. So the trajectory, the speed at which inflation is coming down, slowed. And this is what the mainstream media doesn't tell you. Everybody says, oh, inflation came in lower than expectations. Yeah, but it was less than it was coming down. It was less of a rate of deceleration than the month before. This is the problem, is that we run with these data points here that are irrelevant, manipulated, and even with their own manipulation, they bold-faced lie and say that inflation is still coming down. At the current pace of inflation, it would take them nearly a year to get down to the 2% target if we were bringing inflation down by 0.1%. 0.1% every month, it would take us a year at our 3% range that we're at right now to get down to the 2% target. Nearly a year, 10 months. And yet they want to pretend like inflation hasn't been compounding for the past 3 years. Now, Kamala has a program, I guess. I'm going to be looking at the rest of her economic policies, and I'm going to follow up with you guys. But here's what came out of this is Fox Business. Eleanor Terrett with the update on the Crypto for Harris town hall, failing to sell industry on proposed reset. Now, like I said, it wasn't a town hall. She didn't show up. No audience questions. A bunch of pre-recorded interviews that they played. This is not a town hall. Some viewers remain unconvinced that Harris will embrace the $2 trillion crypto industry. This is Eleanor Terrett. Now, I just wanted to, give her a shout out for, being one of the few in mainstream that actually covers the XRP Ripple case and gives us a fair shake. But her reporting here on the event I thought was pretty spot on. Says if the goal of Wednesday evening's effort by the Crypto for Harris campaign was to convince a skeptical digital asset industry that a Kamala Harris presidency is something that should support, it did little to move the needle. That's my read after listening to scores of crypto enthusiasts who tuned in to the nearly 90-minute virtual town hall that featured a who's who of Democratic lawmakers, including the party's head honcho, Senator Majority Leader Chucky Schumer, Senators Debbie Stabenow and Kristen Gillibrand, California Congressman Adam Shifty Schiff, and even a brief appearance from tech billionaire Mark Cuban. Out of more than 100 responses to my X post asking for feedback from viewers who listened into the call, the overwhelming majority of respondents were neither impressed nor convinced that Harris will play ball on the so-called crypto reset Democratic politicians and industry leaders are encouraging her to embrace. This is mainly because Harris herself has yet to reveal publicly how she feels about crypto. As I've been saying, if you wanted to put on a masterclass of how to lose an election, this is how it's done. By sending out people to speak on your behalf, you're not coming out and laying down the policies yourself. Now, you don't have to do much to catch up to Trump other than say you're going to fire Gary Gensler, say that you're going to do no taxes on tips, which you already did, say you want to do no taxes on Social Security, say that you want the industry to be our country to be the leader in the industry. It wouldn't take much to catch up. Some simple statements are all that need to be done. I don't understand why it's not happening. Why are they not putting Kamala before us to give these crypto policies? You don't actually have to speak about the specifics. Nobody's going to ask you about the tech. We know that you only let selected mainstream media softball questions and pressers to take place with this White House. Nobody's going to press you on the tech. You're not going to have to explain it. We know you can't. We know that Trump can't either. It's not the president's job necessarily to understand it. It's the president's job to set the tone and to bring in the industry experts to set forward and to push the regulators to, hey, maybe before we, continue with Operation Choke Point, let's stop going after projects that are trying to be legit, trying to do things the right way. And so this is where we've been calling out the hypocrisy. I just showed you guys David Schwartz, CTO of Ripple, even calling it out. And this is a Ripple company, I think, that's perfectly positioned. But I did notice Brad Garlinghouse has been showing up at the White House roundtables with Ro Khanna and other Democratic leaders, but they didn't show up to this clown show. And I'm glad that they didn't, because I think it was absolutely embarrassing. And it's absolutely a masterclass on how to lose an election and how to run a campaign. Now, I have criticisms of the Trump campaign as well. Don't think that I am not willing to criticize the Trump campaign, Donald Trump himself, the Republicans. I absolutely am. I call out these sellout Republicans all the time. And I have my critiques, critiques of the Trump campaign right now as well. But hey, it's very simple. They're coming out. And this is the son of President Trump saying that he's fallen in love with crypto DeFi. And this is what I'm talking about with trying to play catch up right now. You better make a move quickly, because you have the son of the president saying that he's truly fallen in love with crypto DeFi. Like I said, you don't even have to have Kamala explain the tech or explain it further than she's fallen in love. She wants us to be the leaders. You just have to be a regular politician. Come out and say something nice. That's all you have to do. And she can't make an appearance. Now, this is the Trump Organization to launch a cryptocurrency initiative, reporting here from CoinDesk. The son of former President Trump tweeted earlier this month that he had truly fallen in love with crypto DeFi. Now, they haven't released the plans completely, but he says, quote, the moment that everything is final and ready to go, the crypto project will be publicly announced. He hinted that the project could involve digital real estate, suggesting that people may be able to lend or borrow funds through it. So the Trumps have fallen in love with DeFi. Trump says that we need to hold our Bitcoin. That's another step that the Kamala campaign has to play catch up on. Explain what you think we should do with our Bitcoin. Our government has seized a bunch of crypto. What's the policy? Are we going to do a strategic reserve like RFK wants to do, buy 500 Bitcoin a day till we have 4 million? Do you want to do it like Trump, where he just says simply that we need to keep and hodl, don't sell the Bitcoin that we got? And right after he said that, the government started moving Bitcoin around to sell it. So the Kamala campaign can come out and say whatever they want, but what they're doing doesn't even match up with what they've started. At least they're starting to have a conversation about crypto, but they're completely behind. Now, furthermore, from CoinDesk, we see this one coming out here. This is JP Morgan saying that stablecoin regulations could pose problems for Tether. Oh, you don't say. Would it cause problems for Tether and for you and many other banks, JP Morgan? The MiCA regulations that require 60% of the reserves to be covered in cash held within European banks. This is the MiCA legislation that they're citing right here. And they say, given Tether's composition of reserves, complying with MiCA's stringent requirements could necessitate significant changes to its reserve management strategy, analysts led by Nicholas, not going to pronounce that last name, wrote. The stablecoin issuer has previously been subject to regulatory scrutiny due to lack of transparency about the composition of its reserves, the bank said, adding that the new regulations would intensify pressure on Tether to provide more detailed disclosure and audits. And this is why I put out my prediction this last week that the Ripple stablecoin is set to pass Tether eventually. I'm not willing to put a timeline on that prediction. This could take some time. And it doesn't necessarily mean that Tether has to go to zero, Tether has to fall, Tether has to be exposed. I think that the Ripple stablecoin will pass Tether just by the fact that this space, stablecoins, is set to grow from 160 billion to nearly 3 trillion by 2028. That's a lot of margin. That's a lot of opportunity. That's a lot of room to work. You can make some mistakes and still create a $100 billion token with, with relative ease over the coming few years. Ripple's perfectly positioned where they have this relationship. They've now, well, it's not a relationship. It's not a partnership. They just acquired Standard Custody and Medico. And the key part about that was the New York license for the trust company. Key difference between a bank and a trust is a trust doesn't lend out against the deposits. This is where Circle with USDC got exposed with 3 billion of their collateral reserves were held at, what was it, Silvergate or one of the banks? I forget which one. I think it was Silvergate. $3 billion worth of their, I don't know if it was cash or T-bills, were held at that bank. And when it collapsed, they got exposed completely. Huge depegging of USDC when that moment happened. Well, here's the difference, is that standard custody isn't going to go bust. And what Ripple's doing by working with their own custodian, they have no additional costs. I mean, how much more can it actually cost them to hold their reserves at their own trust company versus a bank, which is going to cause you, fees and other expenses related to that relationship? This is something that Ripple gets to do in-house. And there's a few reasons why I put out this prediction, but another one is the indirect backing of Ripple, the issuer, with the amount of XRP that they have. Ripple doesn't have to come out and say that our stablecoin's backed by XRP, but everybody in the world knows that Ripple has 40 billion plus XRP that's worth over $20 billion at today's prices. And this is a company, by the way, that's trading at an implied valuation of $7 billion on private equity market platforms like Link2. Linked up down below for Link2 if you want to get $500 towards your first investment. If you're new to Link2, you can use my link to get $500 towards your first investment. I think that we're going to be laughing. I'm not going to tell you what to do or give you financial advice, but I think we're going to be laughing at the fact that Ripple was trading at a $7 billion implied valuation, when I think that this company could very well reach a market cap into the hundreds of billions and maybe even trillions. I mean, we got $1 trillion market cap companies. I'm going to show you guys how much the market cap has grown of the overall equity market here just in the past couple of weeks. It's staggering. It's $4 trillion. And so is Ripple a $1 trillion company? I'm going to talk about that in a separate video. Make sure you guys have subscribed and hit the notification bell so you don't miss that one. But continuing on, this is what I'm talking about right here. The S&P 500 has now added nearly $4 trillion in market cap since August 5th. Bottom. That's $4 trillion in 9 trading days, or $444 billion per trading day since August 5th. Nvidia alone has added back nearly $700 billion in market cap since its August 5th low. Trillions of dollars of market cap are swinging on a daily basis in this market. Truly insane. See, it's already the norm that we have these market caps moving by 40, 50, hundreds of billions of dollars over the course of a week. I mean, we've added $444 billion per trading day in the past 9 trading days. We've entered a new reality as far as valuations of the public markets in America. The private markets aren't as liquid, and so they don't have probably as tight of a valuation, and we don't have public disclosure from Ripple as they're a private company right now. They're not publicly disclosing how much money they're making. In the SEC versus Ripple filings, the blacked out parts included how much money Ripple was making, which was part of the reason why the SEC wanted so much. And even the judge said that their business is very lucrative. That was a direct description, the adjective of how she described Ripple's business model was lucrative. Okay, you bet it is, which is why I still think it's we're going to look back and it's going to be a joke that we talked about Ripple being at a $7 billion valuation. Now, continuing on, I wanted to talk here about this move here by Michael Burry, shockingly sold out of his gold. I disagree with what has been put together in this thread. Now, just because this is, an X account titled the Michael Burry Stock Tracker doesn't mean that I, necessarily agree that, this isn't Michael Burry's account. This is just somebody trying to explain Michael Burry, what he's doing. And so I'm going to go through this thread and explain some of the disagreements that I have with their justification. Now, we tracked Michael Burry making a big investment into the Sprott physical gold ETF, but now he is heavily bullish on the consumer strength of the dollar, China, and the U.S. job market. We think we have a good reason why he changed his mind on the U.S. economy. Well, I think that we could really summarize this. My quick response would just be the fact that the Fed is set to pivot eventually. It's basically the consensus that they will in September. But if they don't in September, it'll probably be shortly thereafter. And the amount of rate cuts that's now being expected is pretty significant. They have a real problem, even for themselves. So, the fact that he thinks that the strength of the dollar, China, and the U.S. job market is showing some strength, we'll dive into it. Burry just exited his Sprott Physical Gold Trust position. Over the past 6 months, this stock has had a healthy 23% gain. Traditionally, an investment in gold is a hedge against inflation. Burry might be showing new belief in the dollar by exiting this position. I disagree. I think that this is a take profit. Gold's ran up to $2,500. This stock has run up with it, 23% gain over the past 6 months. And we, a lot of the commodity investors actually expected more of a return on the gold and the silver miners, and we haven't seen it. But the return of 23% in 6 months and gold pushing up above 2,500, this is Burry, I think, actually taking profit on gold and knowing that gold actually isn't going to be 100% bulletproof against a recession. So, while they say that this is a bet that inflation is coming back down, I disagree. I think that this is a take profit move. And the other thing that you got to understand is that this is what Michael Burry's fund is trading. Michael Burry himself, I bet you, still has physical gold locked away in his vault. I guarantee you he does. Although the numbers aren't worth writing home about, inflation has cooled down. CPI in July shows its lowest growth since March of 2021. Numbers cooled to 2.9% in July, potentially giving the Fed the green light to cut rates in September. Yeah, but we're still well away from the target, okay? But sure. Burry is also showing signs of bullishness in consumerism by adding a massive stake in Shift4 Payments. The ticker is 4. Shift4 is a processes payment company for over 200,000 businesses in the retail, hospitality, leisure, and restaurant industries. It's now 13.97% of his portfolio. Consumer spending still shows no sign of stopping. In July, retail sales accelerated 1% on the month, much better than the 0.3% estimate. Burry's Shift4 play is likely a play to capture this upside in spending. Burry's also newest position is in Hudson Pacific Properties. Hudson has gotten beaten down over 49% year to date, but we all know Burry is a true value investor at heart. Remember his famous quote, "I try to buy shares of unpopular companies when they look like roadkill and sell them when they've been polished up a bit." And I agree with that. I agree with that sentiment on that move right there. He's buying a REIT that is down 50% year to date. I mean, this is blood in the streets for the stock market, right? In crypto, 50%, we call that still a dip in crypto, dang near, right? But I think that it's interesting to watch what Burry's doing. It's interesting to watch what the big short investors are doing. We just had the big short week, was a couple weeks ago on CNBC, and they had all the investors that were part of Michael Burry's trade on calling out the subprime CDO market exploding. And what's interesting is that we find ourselves in a similar position, but the consumer has, still showed up for now, despite what we've seen, weakness showing in the jobs market and in the earnings. And so I think that there's a lot of folks trying to put a nice spin on these things. I think that the positions that he's just taken shown that he thinks that we bounce, he thinks that we recover, and I suspect the same thing. But it doesn't mean that inflation's coming back down. It means that inflation's probably coming back around for a second wave of inflation after this election. I've been saying no matter who gets elected, that money printer's turning back on. And temporarily, yeah, the consumers are probably going to bounce and have a good time. But I don't think that that's going to come until this election chaos plays out. But I understand why he took the profit on the gold. I definitely get it. And speaking of gold, today is the day that we celebrate the 53th anniversary of when Richard Nixon was going to temporarily suspend the gold standard on August 15th of 1971. Here are the prices from back then. What did you do to us? I want you guys to see this. I'm not going to play the sound. I want to make sure I'm muted here so I don't play the music, but I'm going to play this. This shows the cost of everything back 53 years ago in 1971, before Nixon took us off the gold standard. Now, it's funny because microwave ovens were actually nearly $1,300. This was new tech back then. That's crazy to think about. Average home price of $11,000. That was the average new house, not existing. The average new house was $11,000. Average salary, $4,130. Minimum hourly salary of $1 per hour. Inflation was at 0.28%. Wow. Average new car, $1,900. Now your monthly payment would be $1,900. I mean, and we got folks that are paying $1,500, $1,900 a month for a car. Back then, that would have bought you the whole new car cash. Average weekly rent, $87. Black and white TV, $100. Now the TVs have come back down. The technology has grown there. Gallon of gas, 23 cents. What's the cost of gas right now where you guys are at? Let me know in the comments down below. What's the cost of gas where you guys are at? 53 years here after Nixon took us off the gold standard. Compare it to 23 cents per gallon. Cheeseburger and fries, 19 cents for the cheeseburger, fries 10 cents. Bottle of Coke was 5 cents. Bag of coffee, 95 cents. I don't know what that's about. Oh, $1 ticket to Disneyland. $1 ticket to Disneyland. I don't know how much the cigarettes were. What does that say? Get lots more. I don't see a price. Back before they put a tax on the vices. I know in my state they have all sorts of taxes on the vices. One bag of marshmallows was 33 cents. You could have s'mores with the family for 33 cents. Average movie ticket, 75 cents. Now, it costs you $100 to take the fam to the movies nowadays. The annual Harvard tuition was $800. Wow. You know, and a big reason why the college tuition has gone up so much is because that's a government-backed debt program, right? All of the student loans. Now we were going to forgive it all, but a lot of that has been backed by the federal government backing of those student loans and all the new programs for that. And that's what's propped up. Now the average annual Harvard tuition, what is it? 60, 70, 80? Wow. Oreos were 39 cents. And this is back before they put all the crap in the food too. 39 cents for Spam, 57 cents for a dozen of eggs, 92 cents for a gallon of milk. And now we get all this food with the crap included. Truly, truly incredible. Now, if you guys are looking to pick up some precious metals on the 53rd anniversary of Nixon taking us off the gold standard, you know, like Burry, he took profit on gold. And that's why I've been stacking silver. I'm not going to tell you guys what to do, but I do want to make the community resources available for you guys. And that's all at ZachRector.com. Just hit the precious metals tab, and then you just hit the links and you get set up on the 401k. Or if you want it delivered directly to your door, just let us know. Now, let's talk XRP. What we see here is Crippen Ritter giving us a breakdown. This is a developer working on, the XRP ledger. Crippen Ritter has been putting out a lot of educational content as well, too. Want to give him a shout out. But he says, people always ask me literally every day, Crippen Ritter, what's the use of XRP in the XRP ledger? Let me make this very clear for you all. It is and always was payments plus decentralized finance. And I like that he included that because that's part of payments. If we fail at payments, then we gambled away what the XRP ledger was designed for. We have it all on the layer one. A decentralized exchange with central limit order book plus AMM united. It sources the best liquidity for you automatically. Payment processing engine, auto bridging, pathfinding, the best liquidity in the world. Not cash incentivized neutral consensus. Gotta love it. Every single feature, primitive, enshrined on the base layer one. It's all on the layer one, completely decentralized. Our AMM won't get sued because you can't sue the blockchain. Versus Uniswap, a third party, a smart contract, It's getting sued right now. API-based JSON, RPC, and WebSocket. Compliance tools on Ethereum degen might dream of having. Love it. Low fees plus fast block finalization. We have all of the parts that we need to be superior in payments. If we still fail, we truly deserve it all. I'd want to bring home this point. We need to double down on our strength and quit BSing around. You want XRP and the XRP ledger to succeed, then begin to learn about the CLOB and AMM. Begin getting used to DeFi and cross-currency payments. How? He lists all the platforms here for the AMM. These are platforms that right now are building out DeFi. They're giving you interfaces for the AMM, and they're going to include more services and products as the DeFi gets built out on the XRP ledger, and there is no more excuses. It is time to get involved. Although I'm the first, and a lot of the developers don't like that I say this, but I still believe that XRP is a world reserve digital currency. I still treat it as such. But that does not stop me from investing in the XRP ledger ecosystem. There's a reason why I put out the How to XRP AMM tutorial. If you haven't seen it and you want to know how to get started on the AMM, go watch the tutorial that I put out. How to XRP AMM. That's not the proper way to explain it. It's the XRP ledger AMM, but I titled it that way to simplify it, to try to get maximum views on a video explaining how to get into the AMM. And the reason why this is important is because although there's not many great issued assets on the XRP ledger yet, there's some interesting projects. There's going to be a lot more coming. And I want you guys, just like you guys have the ability to self-custody, you got the keys to your crypto, you got self-reliance, self-sustainability. I want that for you when it comes to being your own bank and not having to rely on somebody else that's helping you be your own bank. I want you to just be able to rely on the XRP ledger to be your own bank. Now, we have all these capabilities. It's just most people don't understand it. And this is why XRP has not gone up significantly in price yet, is that the rest of the space doesn't realize that they can be degens on the XRP ledger. You can be degens on Solana and Ethereum and all this. And obviously the advantage of being a degen over there is that's where all of the degen activities taking place and all the retail speculation money in degenerate gambling in crypto is in those ecosystems. But you have the same tools here. But these are the tools that will build out legitimate DeFi, legitimate business products and services. Nobody knows. Nobody knows that the XRP ledger even has NFTs. Something as simple as NFTs. Nobody knows. The other thing that people don't know, and the other problem that we have is on the legal front, despite our victory, despite XRP having legal clarity, even if the SEC appeals, Stuart Alderati laid it out today, even if the SEC appeals, the law of the land is still, right now, XRP in and of itself is not a security. Secondary transactions of XRP, secondary market transactions are not a security. That is the law of the land. Even if the SEC appeals, the SEC has to wait for Congress to write new laws that would change that fact, or it has to wait for a court to overturn that ruling. But the law of the land is XRP is not a security. But despite that, we still don't have clarity, and the rest of the market still doesn't understand the truth about that ruling. They don't understand that XRP does have clarity, and they're worried about an SEC appeal. This is the breakdown here, a couple bullet points from Bill Morgan summarizing an interview here between Stuart Alderati and it was J.W. Verrett who hosted this interview on the Crypto Law platform. And that's John Deaton's platform, by the way. But I think it was J.W. Verrett who interviewed John Deaton. Let me see. Yeah, J.W. Verrett right there with Stuart Alderati, sorry. And here's the summary right here from Bill Morgan. Stewart said that if the SEC was a rational actor, that it would not appeal, but when it comes to crypto, it is not a rational actor. He said he would not be surprised if there is an appeal. He stated that in the Second Circuit, there is less than 10% of appeals result in a reversal of the lower court decision. He reminded us that whether or not the SEC appeals, it is the law of the land that XRP and secondary market sales of XRP are not securities. But I was listening to Christopher Giancarlo, talking about this, about how the SEC has struggled, but we still got to wait for an appeal. And then I watched Charlie Gasparino on somebody else's show too. And he was talking about, and I know Charlie Gasparino has been given the XRP community crap. Now, Charlie Gasparino thought that the SEC was going to have a complete victory. It was going to have a complete win, right? Charlie, he thinks that XRP, we're just getting dumped on by Ripple and that we're crazies, right? But, and this is the problem, is that Charlie is who is spreading out the news. Charlie's one of the big shots at Fox Business. Eleanor Terrett, trying to work with Charlie, explain this thing, break it down for him, tell him to calm down and get real here, Charlie. We're getting a little ridiculous now. And Charlie is talking about how we still don't have clarity, the SEC can appeal, and how the judge made a wrong decision. And now the other judges that she speaks with have probably been telling her that she made the wrong decision. That's essentially what Charlie Gasparino just said in an interview today. I'm not pulling up the clip right now, but I just saw that before firing up this live show tonight. You have talking head pundits that are still lying about the facts of this case that are already settled. XRP right now, the law of the land is the secondary market sales are not a security. XRP itself is not a security. That's the law of the land, but you still have the mainstream media telling lies. I don't know if that's Charlie being stupid or who's in his pocket. I'll let you guys speculate on that one. And with that, I want to get into Q&A. I appreciate everybody for stopping by here tonight. Let's have some fun. I wanted to get through our update here and still give myself some time to get to your guys' questions and comments. So start dropping them down below, and I appreciate you guys for stopping by. Cheers, everyone. Right now, XRP is at 56.5 cents. We saw the XRP. It's funny. Everybody's telling me it crashed today. It went down to 55 cents real quick, real briefly. Bitcoin at 58,000. Ethereum at 2,580. What do you guys think? Yeah, teach your grandkids how to access your cold wallet. I mean, for many of us, the plan is to lock it up in, different entities that we can pass on down and allow our heirs to take control of. Of course, I'm going to use that as leverage against my children. I shouldn't say that. I should say this publicly. I got to make them work for it, right? Got to make them work for it. You ain't getting it if you ain't getting something done. B. Sherbin, appreciate the 50 spot. That's massive. B. Sherbin, thank you so much for the support. More funny money from Brian in Edmonton, Alberta. Thank you, Zach. B. Sherbin, I appreciate it. We'll take it. We'll take it. And your support means so much to me. Thank you so much, my friend. What are we drinking tonight? Beer? Yep. Still drinking cheap beer, waiting for XRP to moon. Can I have an LLC for tax breaks on crypto gains, or does it have to be specific to being a crypto custody LLC? You can take, you can harvest losses on your crypto no matter what your entity is. If you have losses, it doesn't matter if you have it in an LLC or not. Now, obviously, speak with your accountant. Please don't listen to me. But from my understanding, it doesn't matter what entity you are holding your crypto in. If you have losses, you can harvest those losses on your taxes. Now, there is advantages, though, of course, of putting your crypto into different entities and being able to protect it, being able to have tax advantages that come with those entities. And so you definitely want to consider that. And for tax loss harvesting is something that should be considered as well, obviously working with your tax professional. But yeah, tax loss harvesting, it can be done no matter whether it's just your personal bags or whether it's in an entity. We've been digging a hole for the last 4 years and we are almost to the diamonds. Brandon Haskell, I appreciate that comment because it's so true. It's just like what Michael Burry's quote was, right? Buying these companies that are just absolutely beat up and then you sell them off when they're a little bit polished up. XRP is about to it's getting polished up right now, and it's about to shine brightly. It's going to shine bright. And I think that's going to overpower the rest of the space that still doesn't really, and here's the problem. We should be in a position of clarity and a competitive advantage against the rest of the space, but we're not, because no one trusts the SEC. See, my red folder's out of reach. I put my red folder away for now because we got the final ruling on the case. Now, if we get an appeal, I'll have to get the red folder back out. And I should have the red folder still handy here next to me, because the damages are still occurring just because of the market perception, right? And this is something that you see in all markets, right? If you have somebody who defames your or commits libel against your company, damages are done. Now, what we have right now is just lies and misinformation being spread about XRP, and then we have a lack of trust with the SEC. Everybody's worried that the SEC is going to appeal, and this is still causing XRP to be suppressed. We had a false breakout where XRP was up 20% on the day that we got the news, and we decoupled from the rest of the space for about 24 hours, and then we came back down because nobody trusts the SEC. This is damages that we're still taking on because of the SEC's actions. Bitcoin is going to dump to 50,000 one more time. Don't let them fool you. Well, that was the thing. Bitcoin went down to about 56,000 today. So it did backtest here today. We had that big liquidation last week that put Bitcoin down to 48,000. So yeah, we already did clear 50,000 once. And you have to understand too, from 74,000, the all-time high for Bitcoin that we hit back in March, right? Let's measure this move. It's 33%. That's a 33% correction. Now, I don't see why Bitcoin can't go even lower in the interim. I understand why Bitcoin's going to go back up eventually. The money printer is going to get turned back on. Broader cryptocurrency legislation is going to pass. When crypto legislation does get passed, stablecoin legislation gets passed, we could actually see a consolidation out of altcoins, because many of these projects aren't going to make it. They aren't going to pass the test. They're not going to be in compliance. They're not going to have done things the right way. And if the SEC continues, I mean, they have plenty of job security for the next 5-10 years as they go through all of the ICOs, all of the pump and dumps, all of the fraud, all of the securities violations. The SEC has plenty of opportunity there. But in the meantime, I do think that could push more liquidity back into Bitcoin eventually. But I don't think that happens until we get through whatever sort of correction is going to occur between now and the election. Now, the headlines that I started out this episode by reading, the front page of Market Watch, is everybody acting like everything's fine and A-OK. This is the front page of Market Watch right here. S&P 500 erases August losses as irrational recession fears. No, it's not irrational, and it's not a fear. It's a fact proven by the data that we're already in a jobs recession. We're already in an earnings recession. That's a fact. It's not a fear, and it's not irrational. It's a rational understanding of the facts of the data put before us. And this is why I think that so many people are going to get blindsided by this. The amount of panic that came in last week, just over about a 24, 48 hour period with the Japan carry trade unwind, and then them trying to cover this thing up and say, oh yeah, it's 75% over, don't worry. That's a bold-faced lie. Tim says 20,000 Bitcoin. That's a bit. Yep. I want to read this off from DMP. When I plugged into XRP in September 2019 and the suit landed in December of 2020, I remember thinking that I could never hold another 1 to 2 years. Remember thinking that the lawsuit was going to be done in like months? We thought that thing was going to settle up so quickly. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, true diamond hands conviction. And that's what it's about. We will be rewarded for investing in an ecosystem that's proven itself, despite everything put against it, from the lawsuits, from the lies, from the misinformation, the deception, the narratives, the FUD. We've been able to cut through all of it. And I want to, once again, I was looking at this chart here before I fired up the live session. You have to understand, XRP got bought up. It got bought right back up. We pumped up to about 66 cents for XRP before we cleared out. But we went all the way back up to nearly 65 cents here for XRP. I mean, this thing, despite the Japan carry trade unwind liquidation event, XRP got bought right back up and it's in a position of strength. And this is a move. See, this is why I've been saying, if you just snipe these liquidation events for XRP, that's a 50% pump. That's a 68% pump. Now, this is for the traders. Yeah, to be in and out of this thing, right? But this is why I don't understand why there's not more people, getting into this thing right now, because this looks like to me like the beginning of an inverse head and shoulders potentially, where this thing could pop back up. Not to say that we don't get one more back test, but the support that we have, this goes back. I had the XRP 45 to 40 cent range right at the start of this year, even though after we went back up to 75 cents. The target was set, the target was hit a couple times here. And I thought that we were going to get a little bit more of a pump after the clarity, after the final ruling from Judge Torres. But we didn't. We only got about it was actually a 70% move, or yeah, it's a 70% move. But I thought that we were going to get a lot more for sure. But we only decoupled for about 24 hours, and then we had a correction that brought us down with the rest of the space. And this liquidation event, I think, was giving us a glimpse of what's coming. Yeah, sorry, I realized you guys weren't looking at my chart here. What time range, more or less, do you think the XRP will go up? I think that by the end of the year, we're going to start the run by the end of the year. The correction is coming before the election, but then we're going to have a V-shaped recovery, in my opinion. Just like we did in March of 2020. And that's the good thing about crypto, right? That's why I don't mind being positioned in it, is because although if we do get the correction that I'm talking about, we get liquidated pretty quickly, pretty dramatically, but then the bounce and then the pump after that, is looking like it's going to be pretty significant. With no matter what happens, no matter who gets elected, that money printer has to get turned back on. Interest rates have to drop, which is going to free up more liquidity in the system. So it's not a good time to buy. Well, I mean, I just showed you guys great opportunities to buy. You got opportunities to buy this asset where, it was 40, 50% cheaper than where it's at right now. This is why for the last year I've been saying that I have cash. And I've been staying liquid because we're not out in the clear yet. I was hoping that the final ruling from Judge Torres was going to give us that clarity and that we would begin our run and that we could decouple. But we only decoupled for 24 hours. We're back trading with the rest of the space. We have to recognize that reality. No amount of hopium that I can deliver or any other person can deliver is going to change that fact that we are back trading with the rest of the space. And the next date, I mean, if you're as sick of dates as I am, well, and in dates in relation to this lawsuit, I'm absolutely sick of that. Well, the 60-day window for appeal is about August 6th, right? Or sorry, October 6th. October 6th, 7th, somewhere in there. The 100,000 XRP futures will price retail out. Tim, that's a great point. We have XRP US dollar settled futures. These are physically settled contracts that are going to be going live on the Bitnomial platform. Now, each one of their contracts is supposed to represent 100,000 XRP. And these need to be delivered physically, meaning you can cash out an XRP. So really, you're not cashing out, you're getting paid in XRP. So, and I think that this is going to be, what was so interesting about this launch of this futures product is that Bitnomial, this exchange, skipped over Ethereum and Solana. They had all Bitcoin products. They had like 3 futures contracts and 1 options contract, all related to Bitcoin. And they skip over Ethereum, they skip over Solana, and now they go straight to XRP. Why? Why would they do that? I thought there was no demand for XRP. They don't need to burn any XRP. It's going to be so valuable. No, they don't need to burn XRP. And I believe that a lot of XRP has already been divvied up, pre-allocated. And what's so interesting now is we're going to see how Ripple can get XRP into the hands of these institutions going forward. They're going to have to restructure. Looks like they already have. They've changed on-demand liquidity. So their on-demand liquidity partners don't even need to hold XRP necessarily. But Ripple needs to have that XRP set aside. See, this is where I'm in disagreement. Folks say that ODL doesn't impact price because it's, and I agree to an extent, it doesn't have a large impact on price because all of the on-demand liquidity was being sourced on centralized exchanges. It wasn't going through the decentralized exchange on the XRP ledger. Meaning, and really, all of the activity was being done essentially over the counter in these own exclusive markets that Ripple and their partners had created for themselves with their on-demand liquidity network. So they brought in Uphold, they brought in other exchanges, they brought in other platforms, and they created this network for on-demand liquidity where all of the liquidity was being done on centralized exchanges and through, but it wasn't hitting the public order books. And that's the key difference. And that's why it didn't impact price. But where it does impact price is it locks up, or Ripple has to set aside that XRP for their on-demand liquidity product. Now, how much XRP are they having to set aside for that? Is it 500 million XRP? Is it 1 billion XRP? Is it going to grow and eventually they have to set aside 10 billion XRP or more? This is where it gets interesting with their collateral too for the Ripple stablecoin, right? And the Ripple stablecoin is going to bring additional cash flow to Ripple, a company that's already, as per the judge, has a very lucrative business model with their ability to sell XRP and make money selling XRP, but also make money by providing their payment services using XRP as the underlying asset for doing so. As these AMM liquidity pools grow, more XRP is going to get locked up in those AMMs as well. This is where my supply shock theory comes in for XRP, where I think that there's way less XRP that's going to be made available for retail than what folks think there is going to be. The perception is that there's always going to be XRP available and Ripple is always going to be dumping on us. That's the biggest narrative about XRP, despite the fact that Ripple hasn't been selling programmatically. They haven't been selling to exchanges. All of their buy and sells with XRP are in accordance with their on-demand liquidity product. And for as much as they're selling XRP, they're buying back almost just as much. And so I think that a supply shock is incoming for XRP eventually. We could still be a ways away from that, but I'm going to keep it real with you guys always. You guys know how bullish I am on this asset, but the fact is that right now we are back trading with the rest of the market. And the rest of the market, I don't think has a reason to pump anytime soon, other than Chucky Schumer says and has delivered a promise that we're going to get crypto legislation by the end of the year. That's a promise from Chucky Schumer that I'm not going to be holding my breath on. You guys let me know in the comments down below. You think that Chucky Schumer is going to get us a bill this year? Just reading your guys' comments right now. That's why retail needs to buy now if they have not yet. The rest will be priced out. We are okay if you own it already. I worry about these exchanges struggling to source XRP and struggling to find liquidity when we do pump. Matt comes through with a 10 spot. Zach, man, been watching your channel since the beginning. We and the rest of the OGs know what we hold. HODL fam, this is a long diamond hand asset. XRP XLM bullish 2025. What have we been saying, right? Survive till 2025. Survive World War III, survive the recession. And no matter who gets elected, they're saying that we're going to get crypto legislation. They're saying crypto's on. I mean, we haven't heard it from Kamala herself, but all of her surrogates and representatives are saying such. If you believe in the asset, why ponder when to buy more later? That is not logical from an investor perspective, Stu. That's the thing. It's just like Rick Rule says, you know, you find an asset here that you want to buy, you buy the asset, it goes down 50%. Well, it just got double as the attractiveness should have doubled because your price is now half what it costs to get it. So the attractiveness should have gone up if you believe in the fundamentals. If it should go up from the price that it's trading at on the market today, if the market price is undervalued, then you should be happy to buy today at 56 cent XRP. And if the price goes down, you should be more excited to buy that dip, that correction, even if it's a 50% correction. The attractiveness should have doubled, right? If you actually believe, if you actually have conviction and understanding, and this is the difference between us and the rest of the space, is the rest of the space doesn't have conviction. The rest of the space literally is just everybody buys these tokens and they come up with a story or a justification or a narrative on why it should go up and why it might do something or solve this problem or that problem. And oh, they thought about having a partnership with this project and they might do something cool eventually. At the end of the day, everybody just wants to be able to sell it at a higher price. That is 99% of the space. And I talked about this in the interview that I had yesterday with that crypto insider, Jake Donahue. That's not his real name, but he's going by a fake name. He's an author who's coming out with a book. It's going to be dropping next week, next Thursday. And he's basically trying to expose what he saw on the back end of the industry, which is exactly what I'm talking about, which is just all this is a lie. 99% of it is just a lie. They don't have any intent on actually doing anything other than pumping up the token so they can sell it, make their money, and run. I wish that people would just be honest. You know, it's like, hey, this doesn't have utility. This is just a meme. This is just for speculation. And you see that many projects that are running with that are having tremendous success. It's funny. Memes have made utility a meme. And what I mean by that is we all thought, oh, we're smart investing in all this utility, all this and that. Well, up until now, we haven't gotten real big gains in utility coins, right? And that's not to say that I don't think that eventually we will. It's just in the meantime, the meme coins and the meme community has made a meme out of utility by the fact that they've gotten all the gains, they've gotten all the money so far. But that's not always going to be the case because you have to understand, the money that's come into the space so far is retail. It's dumb money. It's Joe Blow money. The money that's coming next is institution, is smart money, is billions, is trillions, is tens of trillions and hundreds of trillions. Dennis, thank you for the 5 spot. RLUSD trust line on XRP scan went to 77 digits, no lie. Yeah, Dennis, yes. Anybody can set a trust line. Yep. Steve, sorry. Yeah. So somebody went onto the XRP ledger. Everybody can do this. And this is why people have been making wallets that are titled Elon. People are making, wallets that they can call whatever. So you got to watch out for that. But Dennis, thank you for the super chat. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. And Dennis, you dropped another one here. RLUSD minting. People will be shocked. There won't be an Ethereum ETF. Bitnomial XRP is proof. They jumped ahead. Stablecoin bill will pass. Well, we already do have a few Ethereum ETFs, but we did see, for whatever reason, Bitnomial did skip over Ethereum and Solana and went straight to an XRP product, which I find very interesting. The XRP leverage account obituary is deep. Zach, make it stop. Well, that's the thing, is that folks are over leveraged and they don't know how to use leverage properly. They're taking on too much risk, and this is how they lose their bag of XRP. This is, one of the tools that's kept XRP suppressed is these over leveraged futures markets, where you have people that are just gambling and using these markets to suppress these assets. These guys are actively fudding XRP while they've taken short positions. We've exposed them on that. And, it's like the article that I asked, who paid Jake with the curly mustache? That guy looked so silly. Who paid Jake, whatever his last name was, to put out the fake news that the SEC had appealed? These guys have no shame. These platforms are an absolute joke. And so it doesn't take much more than a few $1,000, and you can get these guys to show whatever you want on their platform. And so this guy puts out an article that the SEC is appealing, and XRP, the price comes back down. Right. And we see now that basically stopped the XRP decoupling and brought XRP back down. And it wasn't just that outlet. Like I said, I just watched an interview with Charlie Gasparino today, and they're still regurgitating this narrative that Judge Torres got the ruling wrong, the SEC is going to appeal, and the SEC is going to win on appeal. Even though less than 10% of cases on appeal actually overturn the lower court's ruling. Less than 10%. And when you look at the facts of the case, to me, it's so clear. What the judge had in front of her was very clear. These institutional sales were an investment contract because Ripple tied up the XRP in a deal with expectations, time lockup periods, other stipulations, and expectations that made an investment contract. It wasn't the underlying token. You can put XRP, gold, corn, whatever the heck you want into an investment contract. It doesn't make the underlying asset the investment contract. The oranges are not the investment contract in the classic Howey test case. It wasn't the oranges. It was the orange groves packaged up. And that's what Ripple did. They're not doing it anymore. That's why they're still selling billions of XRP in accordance with on-demand liquidity, where they don't even have to make the client hold the XRP. And going forward, and I'm waiting for this, because this stablecoin, they can take $1 billion. They can take $1 billion XRP, and they could fund this AMM and make it the largest AMM on the XRP ledger by far, just in the blink of an eye like that. And it's going to become the number one AMM liquidity pool. And it could be the biggest one by a long ways. Tina says, congrats on your being married recently, Zach. Yes, Tina, thank you so much. For those of you guys who don't know, I did officially tie the knot, sign the deal, and sell my soul to wifey. And we had an absolute pleasure doing so. We did that a couple weekends ago. So yeah, I am in the honeymoon phase officially. But, you guys already know the deal. Wifey already had me, but now she officially does. So, yes, thank you so much. Thank you for all the wishes and all the support. You guys really, really means the world to me. Thank you so much. Had a good time. Yep. Reading comments right now. Garlinghouse, Schwartz, and Ripple have not been 100% transparent. They can do it better. I hope they don't hype it up anymore. Otherwise, another how many more years? Well, that's the thing is, I mean, if David puts out any tweet, the XRP community puts it into a riddle and thinks that it's a price prediction. David could say, oh, here's me taking a selfie outside in my yard, and folks will make a riddle out of it and think that it's XRP going to the moon tomorrow. So they've been put in a tough position where they can't make a public appearance at all without us getting bullish about XRP, and myself included, I will say. Every time Brad goes on CNBC or some news outlet or makes an appearance or does a podcast, I do get more excited because they are revealing. But what they're revealing is legitimate partnerships, adoption, and development. Now, just because it's not reflected in price yet doesn't mean it won't be eventually. This is what I think we need to understand. Now, I don't think that Ripple's been overhyping anything. I think that they've been very responsible. Now, as far as transparency, I wish that they could be more transparent, but there are some limitations on what they can reveal. One thing that I will say, and you guys know, I was one of the few people that actually, put out a couple videos calling out what the heck happened with PolySign. And the fact that PolySign, we don't know what happened, but now Jack McDonald, the CEO of PolySign, now has a job at Ripple as the head of stablecoins. Okay, what the heck happened? So I'm willing to be critical of Ripple. I'm willing to acknowledge that was an interesting case and we still need an update. Thank you. We would really appreciate one. But as far as what they can be transparent with, I think that they've done a pretty good job. I mean, they put out quarterly reports. They've been acknowledging that. I think that they've done a very good job with the transparency. Compared to the rest of the space, they've set a standard. Dennis, thank you for the 10 spot, my friend. Thank you so much for the Dennis, you've been doing a great job. Thank you so much. The dates in transferring in 2014 and 2017 when nobody knew to look bespeaks validity. I've looked at thousands of pages. The relationships are too coincidental. In my opinion, it's real. Mojo Loop, lots of others. So true, Dennis. I mean, these partnerships go so far back, and I think that what many of these partners have been waiting for is that stablecoin. And in fact, I'm going to pull this up because I was going to actually retweet this out, and I was going to post a picture. Let me find this. David Schwartz pinned it up on the top of his profile. This is David Schwartz right here. Huge shout out to David. He did give me a follow a while back, which was a real honor. Really appreciate that. Yeah, I got to tell you this story real quick. At XRP Las Vegas, the most recent one that we had this past year, I was in line to meet David. And I'm in line with everybody else, excited to get my picture with David, a walking, living legend, David Schwartz. And he's taking all these pictures with everybody. It's right before he has to go take the stage. And literally, I was the next person up. He takes a picture with somebody. I was going to be the next person up. I started to say, hi, David. And his assistant or whoever was with him, they said, okay, David, it's time to go. We got, got to get you on stage. And so I missed my opportunity to get my picture with David Schwartz. I didn't get to meet David. I missed my opportunity to meet Brad Garlinghouse again, 2 years in a row that I missed my chance to meet Brad. And so I totally have fumbled the bag, and I was totally fanboying over David Schwartz. But hopefully at the next event, I will be able to meet David Schwartz in person. I was so close. But guys, he pinned it up here for everybody to see. A high quality US dollar stablecoin on the XRP ledger with its decentralized exchange and features like issued currency auto bridging that uses XRP as the native currency to facilitate trades between other assets, and the AMM will be a game changer for users and devs. We need it. We need a high quality one, somebody that we can trust. Why can we trust Ripple? Because they have 44 billion XRP. They have $1 billion cash. They have cash flow. They're still acquiring other businesses. And they have industry-leading transparency. Now, they're not a public company, so they're not required by law to share their whole story. You know, would we love to see how much money they've been making? I would love to. I can tell by the fact that they're still making acquisitions during a bear market that they're still doing pretty well. And they're going to do a whole heck of a lot better. And I still think that they're very undervalued while, this market is valuing them so cheaply compared to just the XRP that they hold. Somebody just said this is not a hawk to a coin. I don't know what that's about, but I know that the Bitcoin bros called her up for the Bitcoin conference, but I don't know what that's about. That's crazy. David, if you're in here, show Zach some love. No, I appreciate it. I really do. I looking forward to it. I've spoken to a few people from Ripple already. We've talked to some other people. In fact, on Monday, I'm going to be speaking with another project. And by the way, guys, I hope that you guys enjoyed the interview yesterday. It was kind of different, right? It wasn't crypto hype content, right? It wasn't XRP hype. It was somebody who actually is out of the industry, doesn't like the industry, has bad things to say about the industry, but I wanted to mix it up. And so I hope you guys enjoyed that interview that I had yesterday. And I have another one lined up on Monday for you guys, another XRP Ledger project. And I'm trying to, ramp up the amount of interviews that we're conducting because I just enjoy. I mean, I selfishly have a good time interviewing these projects and these folks and getting to make relationships with them. But I also feel like the audience and you guys enjoy the interviews as well too. I know you guys like listening to me rant for an hour and a half too, but the interviews are fun because we get to dive in, push back, have a conversation, a little back and forth, a little debate. And, there's a lot of folks too that are, bringing in some unique perspective as well too. So I'm looking forward to that and I will keep you guys updated. That's why you guys need to make sure that you have subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the updates. Yesterday, we dropped 2 videos and the interview. So it's jam-packed day full of content. You don't want to miss it. Zach, could you say a few words about XLM and XDC, please? Dennis, absolutely. So XLM, great utility, carbon copy of the XRP ledger. And we even saw what they did by burning their supply. It did nothing for price. And so for folks that are advocating for burning the XRP escrow, it's like, just look at what that did for Stellar. It did nothing. And so it's been interesting to watch. Now Stellar has native smart contracts, and so we're going to continue to watch that. They just got that a couple months ago. So it's going to be interesting because Stellar took the route of smart contracts on the layer 1. The XRP ledger doesn't have smart contracts. We're bringing smart contracts to side chains, and we're connecting through various bridges. Acceler Network's going to connect us with 55 plus blockchains through their bridges that they're creating. And then we have the EVM sidechain that's being created. So we have side chains for smart contracts. Stellar's brought smart contracts to layer 1. And I think that's great. What I want to see out of Stellar, to be honest with you guys, is just more adoption and more real use of the token by institutional partners and other players. Now, they've got a list, and you can go back and you can look at their partnerships. They go back a ways. Many of their partners actually, and this is what's so interesting. If you look at many of Stellar's partners, they're all partners that mostly use USDC issued on the Stellar network. They're not even using XLM directly. They're using USDC issued on the Stellar network. Now, I think that Circle made a big blunder by not issuing USDC on the XRP ledger. This is where Ripple's swooping in, and they're going to take advantage of this opportunity. But the main partnerships on Stellar so far have been ones that use USDC. So just like David Schwartz said, the XRP ledger needed a high-quality US dollar stablecoin for developers, institutions, and businesses, and this is what we're finally getting. So there's many similarities going after similar problems. It appears that, that they have a clear lane in smaller retail payment flows versus wholesale and derivatives and other platforms like that. But for Stellar, they have already tokenized mutual funds, they have tokenized bonds, and there's other initiatives to tokenize other assets there with smart contracts now. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more building on Stellar. I'll continue to watch it. And it's one of those that perfectly correlates with the XRP. So you need to understand that when XRP does good, Stellar is going to do good. The news doesn't have to be related at all. So for whatever reason, they've stayed correlated. And when Stellar takes a lead or runs without XRP, this is when I sold XLM off in the past. This was a couple years ago. XLM ran up while XRP was still not really moving. XLM went up to about 35, 40 cents. I sold off all of it. I got a big bag of XRP. And then last year, I started to stack XLM again. So I'm not married to my XLM bag because the exchanges have never delisted it. Stellar and Jed McCaleb, for whatever reason, are in the good graces of the SEC and the regulators. And so we don't have to worry about Stellar getting in trouble. And we don't have to worry about Stellar getting delisted. So I've felt comfortable selling off 100% of my Stellar bag at times. I've done that. Well, I've only done that once in the past. But I did that. I traded out of XLM, got a huge bag of XRP, and then I've now been able to re-enter Stellar once again. Not as good of an entry as I had before. I got into Stellar before at 5 and 6 cents, and then that's when I sold it off at 40 cents. But, when you develop your exit strategy for XRP and XLM, just understand that they both move right next to each other. Any ideas on what Ripple stock will do? Brian, I spoke on it earlier, but I'll say it again. I think that we're going to laugh at the implied valuation that Ripple has right now of $7 billion. The fact is that Tether made $6 billion worth of profit in 2023. They've made $5 billion worth of profit just in the first half of this year. So if Ripple can accomplish what Tether has, they're going to have cash flow profit of 5-6 billion per year. Right now, the whole entire company is valued at 7 billion. The implied valuation of 7 billion didn't even include the stablecoin business model for Ripple. That's the price that they were already at before they've announced this plan to launch the stablecoin, and now the stablecoin's live on testnet, set to go live here sometime in Q3. Ripple was at 7 billion before they even announced that. Another reason why it's undervalued is because their bag of XRP is worth over $20 billion. So the math ain't mathin', unless we're going to discount the XRP that's in escrow because it's locked up and because Ripple doesn't have access to it. That's fair, actually. I understand that. If you don't want to value Ripple's XRP in escrow at fair market price or full market price, I get that because they don't have access to it. They only have access to 1 billion per month. That makes sense. But for my valuation of Ripple and the future valuation of Ripple, that XRP is not worth zero. I think that anybody else that's being reasonable would say that that XRP is not worth zero. So do you want to value that XRP at 20 billion at market price? Or do you want to cut it in half? Is it 10 billion? Well, still, if we cut it in half and we say that their XRP in escrow, let's discount that by 50%, well, their bag of XRP is still worth over 10 billion. And we're talking about an implied valuation right now on the private markets of 7 billion. We're talking about a new business model that might bring in 5, 6, 7 billion per year to Ripple easily, maybe even more. As I suggested in my prediction, Ripple probably is going to surpass Tether. Now, I forgot to talk about XDC though. With XDC and with all of these, they're solving trillion-dollar problems. As I've always said, the trillion-dollar problems are what get me excited. XRP, going after markets in the hundreds of trillions and quadrillions. For Stellar, going after markets in the trillions as well. For XDC, a trade finance space that's about $30 trillion. Other markets that XDC's working towards too, it's a very versatile blockchain. It's a hybrid blockchain that also includes a private aspect to it, which is very attractive for institutions. So for XDC, my criticism is the same as XLM. More real adoption, more real use of the token by partners. We've seen some. I want more. And until then, there's not memes coming to XDC. There's not memes coming to Stellar. There's not memes coming to the XRP Ledger. If that's the case, then we need real adoption from institutions. And so this is why my criticism is the same across the board. Ripple and XRP has the most amount of partnerships and adoption. But I'd like to see more on the XRP Ledger. But I am not married to the bag. I am willing to trade out of it. I've done it in the past. I'll do it again. My plan is to sell 100% of my Stellar bag this bull run. Just full transparency. I'm going to drop that, trade out of that sucker, not even think about it. With XRP, it's a completely different story for me. I know a lot of folks say, oh, don't get emotional. Don't get married to your bag. This bag's different. This asset's completely different. Zach, can you explain the impermanent loss on the AMM? Some are saying it's not worth doing if XRP jumps in price. Is this true? Yeah, so the impermanent loss, the reason why it's impermanent is because it's not permanent, right? Meaning it's unrealized. So when the AMM gets out of balance, so I always use Casino Coin as an example, but you could use other coins as well too. XRP and Casino Coin. XRP shoots up, you're going to have the AMM pool go out of whack because the price of XRP is going to go up. That's probably going to cause a lot of selling. Who knows how that's going to affect the price of Casino Coin. And what the AMM does is when this pool gets out of balance, is it brings it back into balance. While it's out of balance, you may have impermanent loss, which means that you have unrealized losses. That's impermanent loss, and it will become permanent loss or realized losses if you sell. If you allow the pool to come back into balance, that's what it's designed to do, and you'd come back into profit. But if the price of an asset shoots up by a lot very quickly, you would experience impermanent loss temporarily, and it may take some time for that to recover. So it is something to understand. It is a risk that you have to understand. I do own XDC. I do own Algorand. I had been telling you guys that I didn't own Algorand. That was an accident. I forgot that I picked it up. I'm being totally honest with you guys. I totally forgot that I'd picked up a little bit of Algorand. And that's why I forgot that I picked some up, is because it was such a small amount. But I do own Algorand right now, officially, full disclosure. But you guys know me. I'll let you guys know any coins that I'm buying or selling. Not to give you financial advice or tips, but just to be fully transparent. Any info on Exceller? Is it worth investing in, or all XRP? I don't think there is a token that Exceller has launched. I don't know the company. I'm assuming they're a private company. And so you may be able to invest in Exceller if you want to do private equity, and maybe Exceller is a company that's going to go public someday, but they don't have any token. So that's not something that you can invest in right now. Would you sell everything at $15 XRP? No. I would sell some XRP at $15 though. Yeah. Yeah, I do plan on selling some XRP this bull run. Absolutely. I plan on getting that XRP back. I plan on taking profits, taking cash out, but then also setting aside cash so that I can buy my bags back upon the correction. I've been very, very clear about my prediction for what XRP is going to do this bull run. It's going to be violent as hell. We're going to have some problems with liquidity when this thing starts to pump. And I know a lot of people don't want to sell any XRP at 5, 10, 15 bucks, and I get it. I get it. I have a long-term part of my bag that I probably will never sell. I'm just going to take out loans against it. I'm going to leverage it. I'll never sell it. That's why I say I really am treating XRP like a reserve currency. Like, I don't want to hold dollars. I don't want to hold anything else. I just want to hold this asset until I see my thesis play out. Either I'll be proven wrong or I'll be proven right. And even if I'm only half right about my thesis, we still get some gains, to put it lightly. Even if, and this is what I love about XRP, even if we're half wrong, we still make some serious money. Oh, XRP doesn't go to 589. You know? Acceler is Ripple's new chosen EVM bridge for XRP Ledger. Yeah. And the thing about Acceler is that they're connecting us with over 55 different blockchains as well. So it's not just going to be a bridge for the EVM, it's a bridge for all these other blockchains. And so instead of doing XLS 38D, which was the amendment for the XRP Ledger and the EVM sidechain, I guess that we're now basically canceling that amendment. We're not going to do that amendment. And now we're just going to have Acceler do this bridge. It's going to be a partnership. It's a Ripple Acceler partnership, and Acceler is kind of just doing this for all of the XRP Ledger, though. Do I know anything about Luna Classic? A lot of people are still in Luna Classic. It's not for me. I can't comment on it. Give us your degenerate high price target for fun. DMP. Okay, since you asked for it. The thing about me is I'm not willing to rule out the craziest prices for XRP. I'm not willing to rule out 1,000. I'm not willing to rule out 10,000. I'm not going to give a prediction of 10,000. I'm not going to give a prediction of 1,000, right? It's just I'm not willing to rule it out. I'm not willing to say it's impossible. My great-grandma, I know I always say this, but my great-grandmother would tell me it would be impossible that I spend $7 on a woke Starbucks latte. She would say, first off, why are you buying a woke Starbucks latte? Second off, why are you paying $7 for it? And you're tipping $1? You know, you're tipping a couple bucks. What are you doing? That's impossible. And as I showed you guys, right? I showed you guys the slideshow there of all of the prices of gas at 23 cents. This was in 1971 before Nixon took us off the gold standard. Gas was 23 cents a gallon. The average car was $1,900. A new home was $10,000. New home. The average price was $10,000 US. So if we told these, folks, hey, the average home price in America right now is $400,000. The average new home at one time was over $500,000. They wouldn't believe you. They think you're talking about a different reality. And you are. We are in a different reality. And this is why I'm not willing to rule out these crazy price predictions for XRP on the upper end. And I say that while I also have strategies to sell off XRP at lower prices. And I provide that level of transparency for everyone, not to give you financial advice, but just to be honest with you guys. The sky's the limit. There is no limit on XRP. Here's one caveat, though. We also have to consider, will XRP go to 10,000? Will Bitcoin go to 1 million? Will gold go to 50,000? Will the dollar be devalued that much? Or will the dollar be reset and new prices and a revaluation will occur before we get there? This has been done in the past. It can be done again. I don't think that the US dollar is necessarily going away. I think the US dollar as we know it is going away, and the valuations as they are, and where they're going to go. I think that that's going to have to be reset. So does XRP get reset? Or basically, does the dollar get reset before XRP goes to 589? Does the dollar get reset before Bitcoin goes to $1 million US dollars? Does the dollar get reset before gold goes to $50,000 per ounce? That's possible. Thoughts on Flare? Great utility, unique utility, focusing on data. Really appreciate that. Need more adoption. You can tell there's a theme with my criticism of projects. Need more people that matter to use your token. For Flare, I've been impressed. DeFi. I consider Flare part of the XRP Ledger ecosystem. It's one of the blockchains that's in a vicinity. You know, it orbits around the XRP Ledger. And I think those that orbit around the XRP Ledger or build bridges to the XRP Ledger, I think it's going to bode well for them. F assets on Flare just went live. This is where you take assets like XRP that don't have smart contracts and much functionality and programmability, and you bring them over to Flare where you have all of the capabilities. You could do the same thing with Doge, and I think that they have some other F assets that they've already issued as well. All right, guys, I think I'm going to wrap up this session, though. It's been an absolute pleasure here tonight. We've been live for over an hour and 40 minutes. I've enjoyed taking your comments, your questions. And if you guys are looking to get in touch with me, the only place to get in touch is at zachrector.com. You can reach out. You can join our private community. We also have all of our community resources, including crypto exchanges, wallets, and we also have precious metals available for you as well. Additional resources for our community are there, so please take advantage. If you guys haven't already, please also like this video. Make sure you guys have subscribed and hit that notification bell. We got additional content dropping tomorrow for you guys that you won't want to miss. And we're going to summarize the market activity this weekend for you guys in my Patreon Discord exclusive call every Saturday. We do our Discord weekly call. If you're looking to get access, you got to sign up through Patreon to get into the Discord, and we would love to have you join us. Appreciate you guys, all the super chats, all the love, all the support. I will see you guys tomorrow, and I hope you guys have a fantastic evening. God bless you all.